Hello YouTube, so welcome back to the channel. This is Always Something to Ride. Rideability speaking here, bringing you back another one of my bikes to the channel. This is a 2001 929. If you're familiar with this channel, you'll know that we're building a 929 2001 race bike. Today I'm going to run through things about this bike. This is a short overview. This bike actually has 48,000 miles on it. It is 20 years old. It still starts up every single time. It runs perfectly every time. I had it to the shop. I'll give a little plug out to the Mad for Motorsports, Mike Dean. Looked at it just about 2 weeks ago and couldn't believe that there was only one valve that was slightly out. He said I really didn't even need to adjust it. I could have left it just like that and would have probably ran for another 20,000. So very reliable motorcycles. I know you've heard that people get bottom end problems on them. A lot of that comes from people riding wheelies. Cbrs are known for being wheelie riders. But this bike is a reliable bike, always will be there for you, always a starter, always a great riding bike. So, something special about this bike, even though it is a Cbr929, this is an Erion Racing edition of this bike. Just a couple little features that are different. For one, you can tell the signature Erion Racing paint job. I remember seeing this exact bike at the Philadelphia Motorcycle Show. I couldn't believe it. Some things are a little different. If you notice, the frames are all black. All the detailing of the outside frames are black. Swing arms black. Carbon fiber on the rear fender, and of course, Erion Racing Performance can at the end. Also, header system. Love the bike because I like all the different colors. Modern day kids have been laughing at me when they see it because they don't really care for these colors, but this was the start of innovation. If you know anything about these bikes, there was an engineer at Honda they called Bubba, who was, the Fireblade was the special bike for him. That was his design. The 929 and the 954, which are basically exactly the same bikes, a little different fairing. 954 has a little bit more power. But these were his last ones and these were his babies. Of course, like I said, this bike is I think between second and fourth is the lightest motorcycle ever made, a sport bike ever made. And this is the Fireblade model of it. They're all really Fireblades, but some of them came specifically with Fireblade written across them. A lot more of the European models did, which I think they have a lot better colors. They have the blues and the oranges that we don't usually get in this country, but incredible thing. This bike has been one of my favorite bikes my whole entire life. Kind of, I'll go back a little bit to history. First bike was a 87 CBR 600. Back then they were called Hurricanes. You guys already probably heard that in another video, but I have a long heritage of loving these bikes. Then I got into the Cbr 1998 900Rr, which was the predecessor of this bike. Of course, this being the 929, a little higher version of the 900. Always have loved these bikes. Some people find them a little twitchy because that bike came out and it was a very light bike in 1995. That model was very light. This bike to this day is a 2001, but it's still in the 430-pound range, which makes it compete with even the leader bikes of today. It's probably I think, second or third on the list of the lightest bikes ever made. So let's just get right into it. What I love about it is this bike is great with the way that it delivers its power, the smoothness of the power delivery, and it's deceivingly fast. Because it's not a bike like your modern day 185 horsepower leader bikes, a lot of people would probably move away from it. It doesn't have that super jerky power like they'll have, but it has very smooth power and its rideability is incredible. And what I mean by that is you can get on a bike and the average person can just turn the wheel and ride it straight fast. Everybody can do that. But getting on a bike that makes you feel like in any situation that the average rider would be able to figure it out, this bike can do that. I'm just going to sit on it to give you a reason why it has liability. If you look at the stance of it, and you look at where I'm sitting, look at how the bike contours to me. We did a video on the 900, and it kind of had that same contour, which is why I like bikes like this. And if you know anything about motorcycles, that allows you and your hips to work with the bike. So when I push off of this peg when I'm in turns, I can help push myself through turns because I'm kind of in the bike, not riding on the bike. So if I'll give you a little different stance for a person who's riding more so on a newer bike. They would be more higher up like this on top of the bike. So they're going to be leaning down farther with more weight on their hands, where this, if you notice, gives me a much more relaxed feeling. So that's definitely one of the best things about it for me. Those are a couple different things. But another thing, it's streetability. It's like a bike that you can ride easy on the street. You can take some turns with it very fast if you like, but it just has that comfortability. Like I said, the way you're sitting is good. The handling is incredible. It falls into turns very easily without any problems at all. And if you want to go for a long ride, which you can't do on the modern day sport bike, or super bike as they call them, this bike will probably get you a good, I can ride it a good 200 miles, usually probably 200 and some plus miles, and I feel fine. I normally do the circuit. You guys haven't seen it, but it's my Saturday morning circuit. Always something to ride, stop by in the morning. But that's usually about over a 2.5 hour ride all day. I mean, for my morning ride. So it's very comfortable doing that. If you don't know, we're also building a Cbr929 race bike. So I'm going to run through some things that are going to be different on that bike than on this bike. So the bike that we're building now, we can just start at the engine. This is the factory engine on here, 929. The new bike has been bored out to the 954, which is this 1 mil overbore on the cylinders. We also had the transmission cleaned up. We also had a 5-angle valve job done on the heads. It will have performance cams, different than this bike, stage 2s. We also will have high performance clutch basket, clutch covers on the new bike, which you don't have on here. This has a carbon fiber cover. Also on the new bike, all this front end stuff will be changed. We won't have any of this factory stuff. This will all be changed. These here are clip-ons. These will all be clip-ons, 2-inch clip-ons, probably a little longer. Won't have any of this factory stuff. If you notice, it already does have braided lines, even though they're black. So, and this bike has a racing style, but that'll be on the other Cbr as well. And the big thing is, one thing that's great about these bikes is I love them, but I can't lie, their suspension always needs to be worked with. It's not a suspension that works great for all bikes. I mean, for all areas. If you're riding on the track, you probably have to tighten it up. When you're riding on the street, you got some bumpy roads, you might want to loosen it up. So it's one of these things. It was not the best suspension in the world. So what we did for the race bike is the fork tubes, we had that all sent out. So it's all Olin replacement on the forks. And as far as for the rear shock, I'm going to come around the back here so it's not to walk in front. If you look at the rear shock, this is just a cheap 1-cylinder shock. It has really no rebound adjustment. It has really no adjustments at all, really. I mean, you can stiffen it up, but that's really about it. We now will have a new Penske full-out race shock with a dampening bottle connected to it. So that'll change that. So I'm really looking forward to that bike, because besides the fact that this bike is outrageously great for riding for me, I can't imagine with all the upgrades how it will ride then. So I want to give you an update, because we haven't talked about the race bike. We actually got started on that race bike a while back, but due to the current situation of the world, delivery on parts is bad. You can't even get some factory parts from the factory dealers anymore right now. A lot of things are on 10 weeks behind. So as far as the motor work, those things, most of that stuff is done, but we're still waiting on simple things like valves. We're missing 3 valves that have been taken almost, it's been over 10 weeks now. So we're just missing little things like that, but we promise you that bike will be getting together. Hopefully within the next month, we should be getting those parts here and getting started on building that bike. Want to go back into something else, which is a pretty good thing. One of the subscribers actually watched the show on the Z900 Kawasaki, and because I had gotten my other 929 back and I had the Z900, I don't really like being on the street that much, and he was in love with that bike, and he actually came down and purchased it. So I just wanted to let you know that the Z900 that we built is no longer here, and it is now one of the subscribers' which is a good thing for us, and it's a great thing for the channel as well. And that'll be it for now, so come see us again and take a look at our next video.